Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, feeling today like I could have been a stand-in for NPH on Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. If you haven't seen it, well, look it up. It's here on YouTube. Fantastic. I love it. But that's not the point, and that's not why we're here today. We are continuing on, going on with the Alchemist build guide, and today we are looking at the extracts. Specifically, we're starting off with their first level extracts. And just as a reminder, extracts are essentially just spells for them. The word extracts is basically just flavor text. It's a way of differentiating the alchemist from other spellcasting classes. So, with that said, now out of the way, let's go ahead and get rolling with the level 1 extracts that the alchemist gets access to. And as always, or at least as we try to do, we're going to go in descending order from what's going to be typically most effective for you, specifically for this mad bomber junkrat styled explosives flying everywhere kind of build. Starting us off is going to be the targeted bomb admixture. Now, takes one standard action. Actually, most of these will take a standard action because, it's a potion that you're downing, and it lasts one round a level. Now, what this is going to do for you is your bombs are no longer going to do splash damage while this is active, but they will do double your intelligence modifier in damage. So, again, going along with what I've been recommending for this build with what particular races you pick out to bump up that intelligence modifier, you're looking at a +4 right there, but then you double it and now you're getting a +8. +8 to your base damage overall and the die rolls that you're getting. Now, you do lose out on that splash damage, but if you've only got one single target, say it's the boss for an encounter, or just some big beefy target that you really need to bring down and you don't have a lot of small fry to worry about, this extract will help you boost that damage and help you get that target out of the way. Also, you don't really need to worry about having the precise bomb discovery that helps you prevent from dealing damage to your allies. I still recommend having that one overall and still taking this particular extract down as part of your formula list in order to boost your damage when you're dealing with a single target. But then going on after that, the next one is all about making yourself harder to hit, and that is the reduce person extract. Same one standard action, and this one's going to last 1 minute per level. You reduce your size down to the next category, so medium creatures are going to become small, they're going to get a +2 bonus to their dexterity, a -2 penalty to their strength from the decreased size, and they're going to get a +1 to their attack and armor class from the small size. Tiny creatures are going to lose their 5-foot reach, so that's going from small down to tiny. And in order to affect someone in melee or deliver any sort of touch attack, they have to be physically in the same square as their opponent. But the nice thing with this is if you're throwing weapons, they are immediately going to revert to their normal size once they leave your hand. So your bombs, they're not doing decreased weapon damage. If you throw any knives that are coated with poison, they're going to revert to being medium-sized weapons. So that's going to help keep your damage potential going and right where it should be, while making you harder to hit. So this is a really, really good one to have, at least for the bomb throwing build. If you're going with the classic Mr. Hyde approach, then reduce person is the last thing you want. But gotta keep moving here. After that, we have heightened awareness. Now, this one is going to last you 10 minutes per level, and it's going to give you a +2 bonus on perception and knowledge checks, at least the knowledge checks that you're trained in. And if you ever need to roll for initiative, you can dismiss the spell effect, and it's going to net you a +4 bonus on your initiative. Now, going first is always going to be handy, especially if you have opponents that are clustered together. And even if you only have a small handful of opponents, getting going, downing your extracts, and starting to hurl bombs all about is going to be useful for you and your party. So this one's great to have. But this is not all you are going to have. going on from heightened awareness, we come around to cure light wounds. Now, I know especially with the witch build guide, I had an issue with the cure spells because they're touch effects. And, you don't want to exactly be in melee, but that's less of an issue for the alchemist. You're a little bit beefier than the witch is going to be, and given that you're throwing bombs, you're naturally going to be just a little bit closer in combat anyways, or at least overall you're going to be in comparison to the witch. And also, cure light wounds is probably pound for pound best bang for your buck. I've said as much before. It does work better as a wand, so I definitely recommend having one picked up just to be safe, but having this as a nice little backup in your pocket, or even if you just have a couple of empty slots in your extract list at the end of the day, this is a good way to kind of round out some of that healing and help your allies keep themselves alive, especially if you have the infusion discovery. This will let you spread around a little bit more healing and help out with everybody's recovery. So all in all, a pretty good choice to have, handy to have in your back pocket, if for no other reason than if somebody goes down and they're not stabilizing, if they're slowly making their way down to that -10 where they might perma-die, then, having this with infusion to pour down their throats, or even just keep yourself from hitting that point, will be handy. And then, coming up after that, we have Anticipate Peril. This one will last 1 minute per level, or until you activate it. The Alchemist will be able to add an insight bonus equal to their initiative equal to the caster level, which maxes out at a +5. And then the spell ends after you make your initiative score. And this one's a little bit tricky. This one is, you kind of have to be aware of the fact or clued into the possibility of a fight happening, because it's only going to last 1 minute a level, and at first level, this is, you're only going to have it for 1 minute, which is going to pass fairly quickly unless you know combat is about to happen. But when you do know, and when it is about to happen, or if you have this so that it lasts a while longer, or a significant while longer, then this gets to be much more useful, because again, a +5 bonus to initiative, that's huge, that's really nice. In Heightened Awareness only beats this out for the fact that it lasts longer, and it gives you bonuses on other things. But you have to kind of pay attention and be clued in and plan accordingly and make use of this accordingly. This isn't something I'd recommend as a grab at first level or even second level. Focus on the other 3 first. Cure Light Wounds. There are a couple of other spells that are handy as well. A couple other extracts that are handy as well. This is just an example of something that can be really useful for you. But we've gone from stuff that's really useful to fairly useful to just kind of, maybe useful once in a while now. And a prime example of this is the Identify extract. It only lasts 3 rounds per level. It works like the Detect Magic spell. Detect Magic, and it provides you a +10 bonus to spellcrafting checks to identify magic items and command words. This is good for cursed items as well. Scrolls, staves, it just doesn't work on artifact level items, but this is something you might be doing, say, in your downtime after an adventure has concluded, but darn it, you don't quite know what that item is, you don't know what that particular device does, and the bard hasn't been useful. The bard's off getting absolutely tanked in the tavern, is trying to hit up the girls or the guys, or maybe they're indiscriminate, as many bards are. Point being, this is a good downtime extract. This isn't something you're going to want to have prepared over the course of most adventures. There may be some situations where that's not the case. It might be handy to have on hand, but those are more the exception rather than the general rule. So certainly pick this one up, but probably not going to be seeing too much use, or at least not in combat. Almost never in combat. And then going from Identify, we come down to one that's just really not that good, in spite of how much I like the description, and that's Fire Belly. So this also lasts 1 minute per level, and you get a fire resistance of 5 as your belly heats up and becomes hot to the touch. Not so much that you hurt yourself or any allies that might touch your stomach, but it gives you the ability to breathe fire out in a 15-foot cone. With fire resistance, that sounds amazing. But it only deals 1d4 points of damage, with a reflex save for half damage, and spell resistance applies on this. I mean, where to begin with this? Like I said, this isn't something that's going to advance or improve. There is no damage per level. It's just a straight 1d4 points of fire damage. This might have some utility if you're on a ship and you want to breathe fire all over the other ship's rigging, but they're going to be in 15 feet of you, meaning, the masts are touching, the rigging's already going, there are pirates swinging back and forth, boarding parties and repelling. The crew's trying to repel the boarding parties. Lighting the other ship on fire is probably not the best plan at that point. So really, this spell just isn't all that great from a mechanical standpoint. And honestly, I would highly recommend you storytellers, you fine noble DMs out there, be willing to rework this particular extract a little bit. It's just terrible. It's not good at all. And there are certainly other spells that just don't work great for the Alchemist either, like Detect Undead. Having a Detect Undead extract, I mean, at low level, you're going to be able to detect most undead pretty readily. I mean, ghouls, zombies, skeletons. It's pretty easy to tell right off the bat that those are undead, and if you have a cleric with you, they're going to identify them all the easier, and probably have their own Detect Undead spell as well, and a great ability to deal with them. You're better off getting any of the other extracts in your formula list. It's just not great. Detect Undead. Detect Secret Doors is another example of one that's just terrible because the duration is not very long. If it lasted much longer, then yeah, that might work out okay, but it's not even great as a utility spell on your formula list. So those are the kinds of spells you want to avoid when it comes to your extracts. The others, you get a little bit of wiggle room on them, but those you can safely skip. And, well, we're going to conclude there. Today is definitely a shorter video. I'm quite tired, to be honest, and also the first level extracts are, well, it's a relatively short list. Second level certainly expands quite a bit more, and we're only going to keep moving right along with those here at the Gamer's Den. And if you liked today's video, well, let me know down below there. Be happy to have your feedback. Click the likes, click the dislikes, and if you didn't enjoy it, well, or if you disagree with this particular extracts list or want to add others that you think just work really well, then let me know down below. Happy to engage in discussion, and, well, with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. It's 3 in the morning now. I'm going to go to bed and finish editing later. Thank you all for your time. You all have yourselves a good night.